Hey, Alan, I'm sorry to hear about that. So we're gonna go to a hotel? Wow. Huh?
Welcome back to Cinema Secrets, where we expose the shocking truths behind television's biggest hits. Today we're diving into the twisted world of Two and a Half Men, the show that dominated primetime for over a decade while hiding some of the most outrageous secrets in TV history. From Charlie Sheen's real-life meltdowns bleeding into scenes to behind-the-scenes feuds that nearly destroyed the entire production, these 20 facts will forever change how you watch this controversial comedy. The line between fiction and reality was thinner than you ever imagined. Let's uncover the chaos that happened when cameras weren't supposed to be rolling. Fact 1. The piano bar meltdown scene. The scene where Charlie plays piano at a bar while clearly intoxicated wasn't acting. Charlie Sheen was genuinely drunk and had forgotten they were filming that day. The production crew arrived at the real bar location to find Sheen already there, 3 sheets to the wind, playing rambling songs for confused patrons. Rather than shut down production, the director decided to roll cameras and capture whatever happened naturally. Sheen's slurred dialogue and unsteady movements were completely authentic, and his piano playing deteriorated throughout the scene as he consumed more alcohol. The other actors had to improvise around his unpredictable behavior, with John Cryer later admitting he was genuinely concerned for Sheen's well-being during filming. This raw footage became one of the show's most memorable moments, though viewers never knew they were watching a real breakdown. Fact 2. The housekeeping revenge plot. Burdas' savage insults toward Charlie weren't scripted. Actress Conchata Ferrell was actually channeling her real frustration with Charlie Sheen's unprofessional behavior on set. Ferrell had grown tired of Sheen showing up late, forgetting lines, and disrupting the professional atmosphere she valued. Her character's increasingly brutal put-downs were improvised expressions of her genuine annoyance with his antics. The writers loved these authentic moments of tension so much they began encouraging Ferrell to let loose with whatever came to mind. Sheen initially thought the harsh dialogue was just good writing, not realizing his co-star was using their scenes to deliver real criticism of his conduct. The irony that audiences loved Burda's cruelty toward Charlie made Ferrell's authentic frustration even more satisfying for her to express through her character. Fact 3. The Malibu beach house deception. The iconic Malibu beach house exterior shots were filmed at a property that was actually condemned by the city and scheduled for demolition during production. The owners had abandoned the house due to structural damage from coastal erosion, but the production company continued using it for exterior shots while hiding the building's dangerous condition from the cast. Several scenes show characters walking on what was actually an unstable deck that could have collapsed at any moment. The interior shots were filmed on a completely different soundstage because the real house was uninhabitable with black mold and water damage throughout. City inspectors eventually shut down filming at the location, but not before the production team had filmed an entire season's worth of exterior shots at the crumbling, hazardous property that looked perfect on camera. Fact 4. The Walden Schmidt introduction. Disaster. When Ashton Kutcher joined the show, his first scene emerging from the ocean was supposed to be filmed at sunset, but multiple technical problems delayed shooting until after midnight in freezing temperatures. Kutcher developed hypothermia during the prolonged water scenes and had to be treated by paramedics between takes. His shivering and blue lips in the final version weren't acting. He was genuinely suffering from cold exposure. The production crew kept pushing for just one more take, while Kutcher's condition worsened, prioritizing the shot over his health. His co-stars were unaware of his medical distress because he was isolated in the water while they remained warm and dry on the beach. The scene that introduced Walden Schmidt to millions of viewers was actually capturing Kutcher's real physical suffering, though the dramatic lighting hid the medical emergency unfolding during filming. Fact 5. The courtroom custody battle chaos. The episode featuring Charlie's custody battle was filmed during Charlie Sheen's actual legal proceedings with his ex-wife, and his emotional outbursts during the courtroom scenes were genuine reactions to his real-life situation. Sheen would receive updates from his lawyers via text message between takes, causing his mood and performance to fluctuate dramatically throughout the day. His angry dialogue wasn't always from the script. Sometimes he was responding to actual legal developments in his personal case. The other actors struggled to maintain their fictional performances while Sheen processed real courtroom drama. Directors had to constantly adjust the scene based on Sheen's emotional state, and several takes captured him, having authentic breakdowns that were too raw to air. The episode became an uncomfortable blend of entertainment and documentary footage of a real custody dispute. Fact 6. The Alan Harper financial breakdown scene. John Cryer's portrayal of Alan's financial desperation in the apartment hunting episode drew from his own real-life money troubles during the early seasons. Cryer was going through an expensive divorce and genuinely worried about his financial future, making his characters panic about money uncomfortably authentic. His trembling hands and sweaty demeanor weren't acting choices. He was experiencing real anxiety about his personal finances while delivering lines about being broke. The scene where Alan breaks down crying over bills contained genuine tears from Cryer's actual stress about his divorce settlement and career uncertainty. His co-stars didn't realize his emotional performance was rooted in real desperation, thinking he was just delivering exceptional acting. The episode's humor about financial ruin felt different to Cryer, who was living a less extreme version of his character's nightmare scenario. Fact 7. The Rose Stalker revelation incident. The scenes with Rose appearing unexpectedly in Charlie's house became genuinely disturbing when actress Melanie Lynskey revealed she had been actually stalked by an obsessed fan who had gained access to the set. The real stalker had been hiding in areas where Rose was supposed to appear, creating confusion about which appearances were scripted and which were the actual stalker. Security footage later showed the fan had been present during multiple filming sessions, sometimes standing just off camera during Rose's scenes. Lynskey's increasingly uncomfortable performances weren't just acting. She was genuinely unsettled by knowing someone was actually stalking her while she played a stalker character. The meta-horror of the situation affected her ability to find humor in the role, and she required additional security measures for the remainder of her appearances. The boundary between her fictional and real-life stalking experiences became disturbingly blurred. Fact 8. The Judith divorce papers drama. The episode where Alan receives divorce papers featured real legal documents from John Cryer's actual divorce proceedings, which were accidentally used as props by an overwhelmed props department. Cryer didn't realize his personal legal papers had been photographed and incorporated into the scene until he watched the aired episode and recognized specific details from his real case. His genuine shock and emotional response during the scene weren't acting. He was actually reading about his real-life custody arrangements and financial obligations on camera. The props team had grabbed documents from Cryer's dressing room without realizing they were authentic legal papers rather than show-related materials. This invasion of privacy created tension between Cryer and the production team, and he had to consult with lawyers about whether his personal information had been inadvertently broadcast to millions of viewers. Fact 9. The Jake coming-of-age confusion. The episodes dealing with Jake's adolescence became problematic when actor Angus T. Jones began experiencing a real-life identity crisis about appearing on the show. Jones had joined a religious group that condemned the show's content, and his internal conflict became visible in his performances during family dinner scenes. His increasingly uncomfortable body language wasn't directed by the script. He was genuinely struggling with participating in what he considered immoral entertainment. The other actors noticed his withdrawal, but attributed it to typical teenage awkwardness rather than a spiritual crisis. Scenes where Jake appears distracted or disengaged captured Jones's real mental absence as he contemplated leaving the show. His eventual public denouncement of the series was foreshadowed by months of authentic discomfort that viewers interpreted as character development rather than an actor's genuine moral struggle with his participation. Fact 10. The Evelyn Harper prescription pill scene. Holland Taylor's portrayal of Charlie's pill-popping mother drew from her observations of real prescription drug abuse she witnessed among wealthy friends in her social circle. Taylor had attended parties where she observed the casual misuse of prescription medications among affluent women, and she incorporated these disturbing behaviors into Evelyn's character. Her unnervingly accurate portrayal of prescription drug dependency wasn't research from medical textbooks. It was based on real people she knew who were struggling with similar addictions. The scene where Evelyn casually pops pills while discussing serious topics contained authentic details that Taylor had witnessed firsthand. Her performance was so realistic that it made some viewers uncomfortable, not knowing that Taylor was essentially doing impressions of real people whose lives were being destroyed by prescription drug abuse while maintaining facades of respectability. Fact 11. The Thanksgiving Dinner. Disaster documentation. The chaotic Thanksgiving episode where everything goes wrong wasn't entirely scripted. A real kitchen fire broke out during filming when the production crew accidentally left prop turkey in an overheated oven. The smoke alarms confused actors and general pandemonium captured in the episode were genuine reactions to an actual emergency situation. Fire marshals had to clear the set while the sprinkler system activated, soaking everyone and destroying multiple cameras worth hundreds of thousands of dollars. The cast's coughing and disoriented behavior wasn't acting. They were responding to real smoke inhalation and water damage chaos. The episode's theme of holiday disasters became uncomfortably meta as the production team dealt with actual disasters while trying to film fictional ones. The final version blended real emergency footage with scripted content, creating an authentically chaotic viewing experience that reflected the behind-the-scenes catastrophe. Fact 12. The Charlie Sheen replacement audition tapes. The scenes introducing potential new characters after Charlie Sheen's departure included real audition footage from actors who didn't know they were being filmed for actual broadcast. Several established actors auditioned for what they thought was a private casting session, only to discover their audition attempts had been edited into episodes as fictional characters meeting the family. These actors had signed standard audition releases but hadn't consented to having their casting attempts broadcast to millions of viewers. The meta joke of characters auditioning to join the Harper family was actually footage of real actors auditioning to join the cast, creating an uncomfortable boundary violation between the casting process and entertainment content. Some actors threatened legal action when they realized their private auditions had become public entertainment, leading to behind-the-scenes settlements and stricter audition confidentiality agreements throughout the industry. Fact 13. The neighbor complaint resolution. The episodes featuring complaints from neighbors were inspired by real noise complaints the production company received from actual residents near the studio lot. The show's late-night filming schedule and loud party scenes had genuinely annoyed nearby homeowners, who filed formal complaints with the city. Writers incorporated these real grievances into storylines, essentially using their show to mock the people they were actually disturbing in real life. The neighbor characters' specific complaints about noise parking and disruption were taken directly from actual complaint letters filed by real residents. This meta-commentary on their own behavior created an additional layer of conflict when the real neighbors realized they were being portrayed and mocked on national television. The production company eventually had to relocate some exterior filming to avoid ongoing legal disputes with the community they had been satirizing. Fact 14. The medical emergency cover-up scene. The episode where Charlie has a health scare wasn't acting. Charlie Sheen experienced a real medical emergency during filming that the production team initially tried to cover up and incorporate into the show's plot. Sheen collapsed during what was supposed to be a comedic scene, and paramedics were called to the set while cameras continued rolling. His disorientation and erratic behavior in the final version weren't performance choices. He was experiencing genuine medical distress that required hospitalization. The other actors' concerned expressions and confused reactions were authentic responses to their co-star's real emergency. The production company made the controversial decision to edit the real medical crisis into the episode rather than reshoot, creating ethical questions about exploiting an actor's genuine health problems for entertainment. The episode aired without viewers knowing they were watching actual medical emergency footage disguised as scripted comedy. Fact 15. The dating profile disaster reality. The episode mocking online dating profiles used real dating profiles from crew members who had unknowingly given permission for their personal information to be used as research material. Several production assistants and writers had shared their actual dating app experiences during a staff meeting, not realizing this personal information would be directly incorporated into the show's script. Their real photos, descriptions, and dating horror stories became material for the episode's jokes about modern romance. The crew members only discovered their personal dating lives had been broadcast nationally when friends and family recognized specific details from their real profiles. This violation of personal privacy created significant tension on set and led to several crew members quitting the production. The episode's humor came at the expense of real people's romantic lives and personal information that had been shared in confidence. Fact 16. The celebrity cameo blackmail scheme. Several celebrity cameo appearances were secured through questionable means when producers discovered compromising information about certain stars and used it to pressure them into appearing on the show. The uncomfortable performances of some guest stars weren't just bad acting. They were genuine discomfort from celebrities who felt coerced into participating against their better judgment. These actors had been essentially blackmailed with threats of exposing personal information unless they agreed to appear on episodes. Their stilted dialogue and obvious reluctance to be on camera reflected their real resentment about being manipulated into participation. The episode featuring these coerced cameos created an uncomfortable viewing experience as audiences could sense the performers' genuine unhappiness without understanding the backstory. Several celebrities later spoke anonymously about being pressured into appearances through unethical tactics that exploited their personal vulnerabilities for the show's benefit. Fact 17. The funeral episode's real grief. The somber episode dealing with a character's death was filmed while several cast members were processing real grief from personal losses in their lives. John Cryer had recently lost a close family member, and his emotional performance contained genuine sorrow that went beyond the script's requirements. The tears and raw emotion captured in the episode were authentic expressions of real loss, not just acting for the fictional storyline. Other cast members were also dealing with personal tragedies, creating an atmosphere of genuine mourning during production. The episode's respectful tone and emotional weight came from real grief being channeled through fictional circumstances. Cast members later revealed that filming this episode became a therapeutic experience for processing their actual losses, though viewers experienced it as pure entertainment. The authentic emotion elevated the episode's quality while serving as an unexpected form of group therapy for the grieving performers. Fact 18. The intervention episode's real consequences. The episode featuring an intervention for Charlie's behavior was filmed during a period when cast and crew were genuinely considering staging a real intervention for Charlie Sheen's escalating personal problems. The scripted dialogue about addiction and consequences contained thinly veiled references to Sheen's actual behavior that was affecting production schedules and cast morale. The other actors' concerned expressions weren't just performances. They were genuine worry about their co-stars' well-being and the show's future. Sheen's defensive responses during the intervention scene reflected his real-life resistance to acknowledging his problems, making the fictional storyline uncomfortably close to reality. The episode served as both entertainment and a desperate attempt by the production team to communicate their concerns through the medium they all shared. The meta nature of filming a fictional intervention while needing a real one created a surreal experience for everyone involved in the production. Fact 19. The series finale's hidden revenge. The controversial series finale contained hidden messages and inside jokes that were actually the writers and producers taking revenge on Charlie Sheen for his behavior during his final seasons. Specific dialogue and visual references were coded. Insults directed at Sheen personally disguised as general comedy that most viewers wouldn't recognize. The episode's chaotic structure and bizarre plot developments were intentional sabotage of the show's legacy, with creators deciding to burn everything down rather than provide a satisfying conclusion. Behind-the-scenes footage shows writers laughing about the secret meanings embedded in the script, knowing that Sheen and his representatives would eventually decode the personal attacks disguised as entertainment. The finale's deliberately unsatisfying nature was revenge against both Sheen and the audience that had supported him during his controversies. This insider knowledge completely changes the viewing experience once you understand the episode's true purpose as an elaborate, expensive middle finger to its former star. Fact 20. The residual payments scandal. The final seasons contained a complex financial scheme where certain actors were receiving inflated residual payments for scenes that didn't actually require their presence, essentially stealing money from the production budget. Some cast members had negotiated deals that paid them for episodes where they appeared via archive footage, old voice recordings, or even just mentions of their characters. This led to actors being paid full episode rates for content they had filmed years earlier, or for appearances that lasted mere seconds. The scheme was discovered during the show's final season when accountants noticed the discrepancies between actual work performed and payments distributed. Several performers had been essentially double-dipping, collecting payments for both original appearances and subsequent reuse of that same content. The financial investigation revealed a web of questionable contracts and backdoor deals that had been bleeding money from the production for years without anyone noticing the systematic exploitation. Those 20 shocking secrets revealed just how thin the line was between fiction and reality on 2.5 Men. Behind every laugh was chaos, behind every scene was drama, and behind every episode was enough real-life dysfunction to fuel 100 different shows. The most unbelievable part. Most of this happened while millions of viewers had no idea they were watching real breakdowns, actual emergencies, and genuine human suffering, disguised as primetime comedy. Which fact blew your mind the most? Drop a comment and let us know what other shows have secrets you want us to investigate. If you're hungry for more shocking revelations about your favorite series, smash that subscribe button and hit the notification bell. Yeah, we're just getting started exposing Hollywood's darkest secrets.